Today, we're going to talk about a very powerful thing, and that thing is patriotism. It brings Americans together, fuels movements, and gives us a sense of belonging. But what happens when it's used to control instead of unite? Our history is full of examples where patriotism was more than just love for the country. It became a tool to silence, to manipulate, to push people in a certain direction. So today, we're just going to scratch the surface on how is patriotism shaped in our country? How does it influence our politics? And when does it cross the line from national pride to tool for control? Welcome to the Hidden Ballot. We all have our own idea of what patriotism means. It's personal. It's tied to our history, identity, and family. But who decides what's the right version of patriotism is? Think back to 9/11. After the attacks, patriotism in our country wasn't just encouraged, it was expected. Questioning the government? That wasn't just unpopular, it was dangerous. If you spoke out against the war, you weren't just someone with an opinion. You were labeled un-American. And this isn't new. Throughout our history, leaders have used patriotism to push people to obedience. The message is clear. If you challenge the system, you must be against the country. But real patriotism isn't about blindly following orders. It's about making sure that our country live up to its values. Patriotism should bring Americans together, right? But what happens when it's used to divide us instead? Leaders don't need to prove that they're right. They just need to make questioning them look wrong. And fear? One of the most effective tools. When people are afraid, they stop thinking. Hashtag easier to control. We saw this all through COVID-19 in our country. Some leaders said wearing a mask and vaccinated was a patriotic duty to protect Americans. Others said resisting mandates was the real act of patriotism, standing up for personal freedom. Same word, with completely different meanings. That's how flexible patriotism can be when it's used as a tool. Patriotism belongs to the people, not politicians. But let's get real. Both major parties have used it to push their own agenda. From Republicans, patriotism is often about tradition, national strength, and protecting American values. If you challenge any policy labeled as protection, you're painted as un-American. And for Democrats, patriotism is about defending democracy, progress, and social responsibility. Question their policies and you may be accused of weakening the country. See the pattern? Both sides claim patriotism, but only when it supports their message. The real question is, does loyalty to a party equal love for the country? Or is patriotism something bigger? No one wants to be labeled as a traitor in our country. That fear alone keeps people in line. Look what happened to Colin Kaepernick. He took a knee during the national anthem to protest police brutality in our country. Instead of talking about the issue, the debate turned into, is he unpatriotic? Some say he was exercising his right to protest. Others say he was disrespecting the country itself. The very point of his protest got buried under the national debate about loyalty. That is the power of fear. It silenced voices and fostered hesitation in challenging flawed leaderships and unjust systems. Yet true patriotism transcends silence. It's about actively engaging and advocating for a better tomorrow. It involves standing up, speaking out, and striving to ensure our country reflects our highest values and ideals. Here's another example. The U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Some people say leaving was an act of patriotism, ending endless wars and bringing American troops home. Others saw it as a betrayal of American duty, abandoning allies and making the country look weak. Same event, two completely different definitions of what patriotism means. So what is real patriotism? If it's not waving the flag, if it's not just standing for the anthem, it's about thinking for yourself, questioning leadership, and making sure those in power serve the people. Some say questioning authority is unpatriotic, but what's more dangerous, asking hard questions or blindly following? A strong country isn't built on silence. It's built on people who demand better. So the next time someone tells you that speaking out is unpatriotic, ask yourself, who benefits from your silence? This has been The Hidden Ballot, where we challenge the narratives that shape our world. If this episode made you think, share it. Start the conversation, because questioning isn't unpatriotic, it's necessary. Join us next time as we keep breaking down forces that shape our choices in America. Until then, stay curious, stay critical, and most importantly, stay free.